What's up, people? It's your boy Jatwan. I'm here today in Kerbal Space Program. We're actually going to build a tractor today. That's right, you heard it right. We're going to build a tractor. This is going to be kind of odd, but believe it or not, this is really nice because you only have to use one motor in order to actually travel around Kerbal or whatever planet you go to, and it's extremely light for a rover, which is really awesome. And since it's going to be powered by one RTG and one solar panel, and that's all it really needs, it can travel on for as long as the RTGs last, I suppose, and the solar panel. So it's really easy. It's not the fastest thing. You won't be going extremely fast with this. I've gotten over 6 meters per second, which is more than enough for traveling on other planets. So that being said, let's dig on in. I'm actually using Breaking Ground because I wanted to use this is going to be an all-stock craft, and here we actually have these are the grip pads, and I like these because they're extremely light and they take a lot of damage. Also, I like them because it's a bit more washed out than the actual panels, the regular white panels. They are very, I don't like the texture so much on them. And so up front we have our steering that I've put there. That one that's one draw of electricity is going to be that steering. These motors here, these rotors here, are actually going to be unpowered, so we don't need them to generate any. They're not going to take any electricity, I should say. And that one rotor is actually going to give us our ability to steer, because we're not going to use any regular wheels in here. Okay, so after a little bit of prettying up, you can see that this comes together pretty quickly. And just go ahead and turn off these motors here. Alright, so once that is done, you need to go ahead and figure out where you're going to be sitting. I try to make it so it's not going to come in contact with that front motor when I'm the front area when I'm turning, because we're only going to do about a 25-degree turn on the front there, so it's not going to be swinging out extremely far. It's just enough to turn. It's not a really good turn radius, kind of like my truck in real life, which has a god-awful turn radius. But anyhow, moving on, we need to start to decide how we're going to configure this motor. So this is our primary drive rotor right here, and it's going to act as our engine. It's still a little wonky if you try to attach that, so you have to kind of finagle it. And a little trick here, just place it on, shake it side to side with your snap on, and it will center itself. So you want this to be in a pretty good location. I might have to move that back because the gears are going to probably come in contact. And yes, we are going to be dealing with gears, so you get to learn a little bit about gears if you're not familiar with them. This is the other powered component of this. Everything else is non-powered. So let's go ahead and make sure that's fine. We need to set up our gear. And this is the grip pad. You can actually set this to be round like that. And now we need to make our gear teeth. But first we need some extra space. So let's, like I said, it's not an extremely small rover because all the components that go into this have to fit onto this area. So we're just going to make this as clean as we can, and then try to save some space for this main rotor. It's going to take a bit of space because it's going to be acting as the engine main gear, and luckily we have that snap point there, or that attachment point. Alright, so let's make some gear teeth. Now, ever since they pushed the latest update, we can actually do this pretty easily. Just take these, kick them over around, and now you want these, you're going to try to make some additional teeth here. Getting these lined up is a little bit of a pain, to be completely honest, because if you do it like I did, which is not the smart way, it can be a bit of a pain. but you really want to make sure you take your time and align these gears, because the better you have these gears aligned is going to be the more power you're going to get out of this, more torque, more RPMs, and you're trying to make this as balanced as possible. All right, a little turn here. Make sure these are just perfectly aligned as I can, and that's going to be the basis for all of my gears here. So we need to now actually start to put on our rest of our non-powered gears. So this is going to be one wheeled gear. You see, we're just going to turn off the motors there. And same thing on the other side. We're not going to use symmetry on these because these need to be at different locations, different heights. And we need a third one here. Now, the reason is when you have your first spinning gear, it's going to turn one direction, and as you add in a secondary gear, that one's going to be spinning on the other side the opposite direction. So each side is going to be spinning in opposite directions. That's not good because you're trying to go forward, not spin in circles. So what you do is you then add in another gear, this smaller gear that I'm putting together right here. This one's going to act as the primary interface between it and the other wheel. So it's going to actually force that third gear to spin the other direction. So that way we are all rotating in the same direction with the exception of that small gear. If that made any sense to you, congratulations. I probably explained that horribly. But anyhow, let's see if we can get this lined up a bit. It's really about lining it up and getting your gears as close as possible. You're trying to get as much interaction as possible, as many teeth in there as you can to try to make it nice and clean. And you're trying to line up your gears as best as you can so you get that nice interaction between them all. You see this one here needs to come in some, so let's go ahead and drag this one over and back. And when you're working with things this small, because this is actually a really small thing that we're working with, it's really hard to get in there pretty close like this. So you're going to be moving the camera around everywhere, and it's such a pain in the butt, but you'll get it eventually. It eventually just takes some finagling. So you'll see the camera swinging around a lot like that. It's a bit nauseating, and I do apologize. Okay, so we need to put in our last gear here for our other wheel, and this is going to be the other forward turning wheel. As you see, our intermediate wheel there, that one is not really going to do anything for us going forward. It's just to get this last wheel going the right direction. So we need to get this one interfacing with our smaller gear as well. So let's go ahead and drag that entire non-powered motor back into the teeth so they will interact. And from here, it's just a balancing act. You're really just trying to get both of those gears, the large forward rotating gears, to go forward, which is actually not that bad. I have a few tricks to actually do this, but first things first, we need to go ahead and put on our wheels. This is the part that's going to actually come in contact with the ground. So let's go ahead and drag this up and over, and it's going to center it on that one part. Same thing on the other side. So let's get over here. All right, up and over. Okay, so once we have that going, we can go ahead and place on our tractor wheel. And that's just going to be this big grip tire here. And we're just going to snap that on and set it to round. And we've officially made our tractor. This could actually work. We just have to set our vessel interactions. Since that came in 173, we can actually make these gears. But first, we need batteries, because if we go like this, we won't go anywhere because we don't have any batteries. Alright, so these won't work. This is going to interfere with the RTG design. Maybe I can finagle this a little bit, but there's not a lot of room for that RTG in there. Yeah. And since, I mean, we're only using one RTG, it's not so bad, but you kind of try to keep it out of the way. So yeah, those will have to go. And this needs to be snapped to here. No, here. Yes. And let's go ahead and drag that up and forward, and then up. Placement is everything. Now these won't come in contact with those gears because it's not set to have its own interaction, but at the same time I like to try to treat it like it's going to. Just try, because as you can see, I mean, when you're going for a craft that has interactions, vessel interactions, it's best to not force the overlap unless you need to. So let's try to make this as clean as possible here. So yeah, just try to clean this up a little bit here so our Kerbals aren't resting their arms on the battery. Okay, so now we actually need to go ahead and set up our front wheels. I like to lean it forward because the front ones don't really matter as far as I just want to keep those light and keep our nose down. And we're going to set this to high grip, so it's going to keep some good traction on the ground. So even if we're going at low RPMs, low torque, we'll be able to get some action out of here. We're going to set our teeth to extreme grip and set their vessel interaction to yes. So this way, we're kind of setting our teeth so they'll interact really well with one another. There's going to be a little bumping, a little grinding. They're not going to like us at all times, but this is a very important part, so it's best to set it. And make sure you get all of your teeth. I should have done this as I was going, but I did not. Okay, everything's set up here. So what we need to do is, just double check my motors. We need to go ahead and set up our controllers. So we're going to need 3 controllers here. It's just where the heck to place these controllers. Alright. We're just going to have to finagle them outside this RTG here and make it look like it's a little cozy in there, and pretend like they're not going to get nuked by anything. We got this. This is fine. Everything's okay. So this is to control our RPMs and our torque separately. Let's get this. This is the friction series, so we're just going to quickly name this so we don't lose any of our work. This is the 3rd version of the friction series Rover, and it's actually gotten better each time, and I'm very happy about the results. Alright, so here's the trick to lining the wheels up. We need to line our wheels up to make sure we have good traction underneath. What you do is you take this, put that on one of your wheels, and then just kind of drag it so it's right at the bottom there. And now you can actually take your gear and move it so that they're both level. And once you have that going on, you will not be driving in circles as you are driving around the KSC or wherever you're going. I mean, you can counter it by steering, but you don't want to be using that much friction with your wheels because you'll lose a lot of speed, and so you'll be wasting energy. I don't want to do that. We'll barely have enough energy as is. Okay. So just checking through, making sure everything looks right, and we need to line our gears back up with our secondary gear here. Just a little turn, and that should get us about where we need to be. And right around there, and that should give us good interaction with our teeth, I believe. Alright, let's get rid of that, and now we need to set up our torque and our RPMs. We just need to kick this one over to RPM and the next one over to torque. If I can spell that in. Alright, cool. Alright, so that is really simple this time around. So we just grab our main one, put it to RPM limit, and set the same one to torque limit. And now we just need to open our track editor and set these appropriately. And same with our RPM. We're just going to max it out here to the end. All right, looks good. We still need one for steering, though. We still need to set up our steering. So, all right, first things first, let's set up our solar panel. As it's spinning around, it should be fine. I'm not overly concerned, but I just want to have that backup solar. I probably could put it in better locations, but that's the highest location, and that's gonna have to do the trick for me for now until I can think of something better. So let's set up our final cow right here, and no, yes, okay, and we'll just set it right. I mean, that'll work. All right, yeah, that'll work. Okay, so here we need to do this one for our steering. Steering's really easy, like I mentioned before. It's just gonna be 25 plus minus, and in the center of our steering, we're gonna put our 0. This is so I know exactly where to zero it out. It's just dead center, kind of like you're steering a car. So let's go ahead and 2.5. And then we can set our 1 and our 5 to 25 and negative 25. And here, negative 25. And that's it. It's done. Little demo. That's all. That's all we need. That's all you need for steering. Alright, that's basically it. That's your friction tractor, and it's ready to rock. Well, after we put some Kerbals in, just to make sure we don't get bobbed. All right, so we are ready for our test drive, and once again, this is our steering. We're just going to set this in the middle. We really don't need this nav ball, so we're going to set our steering right there in the middle, and we're going to get our torque and our RPMs out ready to go. I usually do these on the fly through the editors just because I can see exactly what I'm setting it to, and I like that better. I am a very visual person. You can see we get a little bobbing around, but it's nothing excessive. So you can see we don't quite have enough torque yet. It's not overcoming, but once it does, that one motor is spinning up, and we have forward momentum. We are going forward. This is very exciting. I love this design because it is so energy efficient. And I like to see all the gears going at the same time. As we turn more torque, you're going to see that we will start to turn a bit the direction of the rotor. Unfortunately, to correct this, you can just steer, and that will correct it. Not much we can do about that. That's okay. But the entire thing actually drives pretty nicely. You can see at the top there, you can see our speeds actually do increase. I'm able to get this thing around 7 meters per second currently. It can probably go quite a bit faster. I'm just being a bit modest because I don't like bouncing around everywhere for my poor Kerbals. It does have pretty good traction. Once again, the wheels are set to high. I could probably set them to extreme and be able to roll right over almost everything. But with this, you can see we have a very, very low electric charge drain. And this is a completely stock craft. So with that in mind, this thing would be able to navigate almost anywhere. It's a nice little contraption that somehow is working really well. Anyhow, if you like what you're seeing, hit that like button, drop me in a comment, let me know what you think, and let me see if have you built any gear type things as of 1.7.3? What version are we up to now? Jeez. I'm thinking Minecraft at the same time. But anyhow, I hope to catch you guys in the next video. For now, this is your boy Jatois, and I am out of here. Peace. Got me a tractor.